What's up, everybody? Welcome to the pregame show,
Pre-show
live
show.
from a remote location, not at the bowling alley this time around. Um, we've been doing them live from the set, but today we took the leisure and extra time off that we needed to pop on home.
Yeah, I
Join us
needed to do
every
that.
Monday for Major Monday, where you, the fans, get to vote on the major that we rebroadcast. That's kind of fun. They do it on their Facebook and YouTube channel, I believe.
I love that. I mean, it makes Mondays more fun for sure because Mondays are the non-funnest day.
Yeah, it's like, how do I escape the work week as quick as possible?
Yeah.
But for all you guys out there today, we have an exciting Sunday and an early one at that. In 57 minutes, we got the Masters finale. We have the underdog. As you can see in the title, we have the underdog versus the heavy hitters. Anthony Simonson looking to tie the record and win his fourth Masters title. I believe he's tying Belmo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we have Justin Knowles, kind of a newcomer, but a local. He's been bowling really well the last couple of years. And then we got the Hall of Famer as of this year. And in a couple of weeks, he'll be getting his Hall of Fame induction and speech and all of that at the TOC. And then we have literally the rookie, right? It's gonna say that he's had his card for a while, but he just comes out and bowls the Masters every year. So I mean, he's gonna bowl the players next week or in a couple weeks, but Gary Haynes,
Gary,
the man from Long Island. It is not on FS1 because they're putting it on the Big Fox. So it's
even better
than FS1. They're bringing in the big dogs, the real crew, one might say.
Yeah.
Again, guys, we just to start off the show here, we definitely will answer some questions for sure. We do not promote getting donations. We don't need donations, but if you're going to ask some questions like this, what happened to the Teal Rhino? We're just going to answer questions that are about the show, that are about the Masters. Even if it's something about the pattern or previous days at the Masters, we'll answer it, but make sure that it is about stuff like the Masters, not essentially bowling ball questions or, hey, what ball do I need to use? So we do appreciate all the questions, though. And Glenn Kamita. Oh, dude, I feel like Glenn donates like every time. We really appreciate it. We love you. Thank you for tuning in and sticking along with us. Kev, what you got?
I'm excited for today's show because it's not the typical faces you always see necessarily. I'm a big underdog Cinderella story guy, and our one seed is someone that probably no one really has heard of. Not to disrespect Gary in any way.
Yeah, no, it'll just be the Northeast crew.
But people in this area know who he is. Obviously, he's a good bowler, but PBA fans have probably never heard of a Gary Haynes. So to see that guy bowling for a title is going to be super fun. We got a couple lefties on there. You know, we always love to see when the lefties bowl well.
We do love the lefties.
And you got Simo, the big dog, trying to take his fourth Masters. So, like, there's a lot of stories in there. And also, like, you know, Bill O'Neill's bowling well and getting inducted to the Hall of Fame. What would this feel like to win a major on the year you're getting inducted to the Hall of Fame? You know, that so there's a lot going on, and I like it. I love that the format's the typical true double elimination. So Gary has to lose twice. That's gonna be a tall task for anyone, even though he's the new guy or the underdog. Beating a guy twice is hard. Like it just is. It's hard to do. So
I don't care if you're fresh on the scene or
no, yeah. I mean,
been on tour for 10 years. It's going to be tough to beat somebody, even if it's a guy making his first ever TV show who doesn't bowl on tour every week.
Exactly.
My question to you, a little bit, kind of diving into that a little bit. Do you think because he doesn't bowl on tour every week that it'll be easier for him to bowl on TV? Because like he has a full-time job at home. I know he makes a decent salary. He's not, even if he wins, he's not, like he told us yesterday, he's not trying to come out and chase the tour based on a win. So this win, it would be awesome for him. But like he even said, it's not like a life changing. I'm not going to all of a sudden quit my job and chase the tour.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I think because it's not something that he's doing as a profession necessarily, it's more just for the love and the moment. And I think that'll make it easier to like try to capture that moment versus like some guys who bowl on tour and they don't get this opportunity often. They might press and really put too much pressure on. I need this title. I might never get it again. And he's like, I can't believe I'm even here. Let's just go have some fun. You know, when we briefly talked to him in the paddock, that's kind of, he was like, I'm glad that I got to do some interviews the day before and kind of get.
He loved like coming and hanging out on the set, like just to get a feel for what it's going to be like.
Right.
The show is on Fox today in 53 minutes. Again, guys, if I said FS1 or if somebody else says FS1, it's on Fox in 53 minutes.
Yeah. Big Fox. But yeah, I think there's going to be less pressure for him to win today, just in the sense of he's doing it more for the pure, like the pureness of it. Like he just wants to win. This opportunity is awesome. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Where some guys are like, I need this title. Like, I don't think it's the end all be all for him. Obviously, he wants to win, but I think
Jeff
he's happy where he's at.
Yeah, Jeff's more pressed about the league win with Gary than he is with the Masters win.
Well, I'm
sure there's going to be a big party over in a big watch party on Long Island, watching the kid from home try and take it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, William O'Leary. I mean, great kind of chip in with only 14 tournaments. I find it hard for anybody to go out there full time and give up a full time job at home. And a lot of these guys haven't had full time jobs at home. It's kind of, they started out, and if it works, then it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think there's closer to like, it's between 15 and 20 tournaments with all the end of season stuff, the All-Star weekend stuff. And there's plenty of other ways and avenues to get paid through the bowling world, through sponsorships. I know you see a guy like EJ have 30 different sponsors on his jersey. Kevin has, 5 or 6. I have 5 to 10 sponsors on our jersey. There's just a bunch of different avenues. It isn't always just the prize funds that help you get paid much. I mean, and it's the same, much like in a world like the disc golf world is kind of what I can relate it to. Like, these guys don't necessarily get paid a lot to play these tournaments and win these tournaments, but they do have a bunch of other outside sponsors, whether it is like a disc company or an athletic apparel company or a YouTube channel that they hop on. So there's plenty of other ways that they can add to their, yearly earnings, as we say, that might help it out.
Yeah, a lot of people don't really think that. They just look at our earnings for the year and they think that's all you made. It's like, no, it's not the only money we make.
And we have 8 more months. We bowl regionals, we bowl weekend tournaments. So there might be 14 tournaments a year on the Pro Tour, or 15 to 20, like I said, on the Pro Tour. However, there is maybe 30 other tournaments that Kevin bowls throughout the year.
Yeah.
So, and some of those pay out 10, 15,000 to win those tournaments if he goes out and gets a win. So there's plenty of other action, plenty of other places to win, and places to kind of add to your yearly earnings.
I was going to tell you to bring up this comment right here. This is a great comment.
This one's a good one. I have a bunch of starred ones. I'm going to star this one and we'll get to it later. Yeah. But we have some from a little earlier. Turtle said, how is Simo's back? This is the first week. It just seems completely fine.
Yeah.
Like this is the hardest pattern, and he's bowled the best, where like at the World Series, when those patterns were a little more challenging, he bowled not great.
Well,
I bowled with him 1 week at the World, or one of the patterns at the World Series. And it seemed better than it had in the past. Like every week he seemed to get a little better and a little looser, I guess.
Well, he said at the World Series, he was like, my back feels fine now. I just don't know where it's going off my hand, which no one has ever heard Simo say ever. I don't think he's ever said that in his career, but he looks, I mean, after like the first day, I was like, welcome back, Simo. You can just tell like he was just back.
Yeah. I mean, you look at him past the eye test, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know how good he is. So at some point we were just waiting for him to come back, So he's back. He obviously likes this center. He bowls well in here. So considering he won last time here. So
100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, also like with the season coming to a close, he hasn't exactly bowled the best this year. It was only a matter of time, and he wasn't going to go the full year without popping off at least one turn.
Of course. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if the next 3 events was a Simo show, But his back does look good. And he looks like he's throwing it where he needs to again.
Yeah, agreed.
It's a dangerous combo for people like us who have to bowl against him.
Crazy man, or Casey man. Bummer y'all went home. I'm repping the Bug shirt. Oh,
We love
we
that.
love the Bug shirt. If you guys are joining us on YouTube, we do have a link down below in the description to go to thehousebowling.com, and you can use code PBA25 for 10% off your order at checkout, no matter if you buy the Bug shirt or if you buy a bunch of other shirts or if you just want to pop on and check out the store.
Yeah.
Based on yesterday, would you rather be a lefty or a righty for today's show? There's a couple lefties out there. So
it's 2-2. It's 2-2. I think we talked about this a little bit yesterday in the pre-show, where I don't think there's a huge advantage one side to the other. I think it's pretty even. It's more about how the lefties and righties break down the pair and turn it into what they want to see. We were talking with Timmy Mack, the Stormball rep, and he said that the righties did a really good job of breaking that pair down. They got in pretty deep towards the end there, but overall, he said that they turned them into lanes they wanted to. And the lefties also had a game plan yesterday where Graham Faw told us that they all threw a lot of chalk, a lot of surface further left, and try to break down a spot. So I don't think it's necessarily right or left is better, where sometimes in that instance it happens pretty often. I think it's about how what they want to turn the pair into. You know, Gary plays a little straighter. He's a one-hander, doesn't have a lot of rev rate. He'll probably stay a little straighter. Justin Knowles knows how to break down a pattern. He's been out here for a while now. So I think it's going to be good on the left and the right because there's only 2-2. It's not a 5-man show like typical, so there's a little less shots that are going to be thrown compared to like a regular telecast. And being 2-2, these guys can break them down pretty nice. So I think score's going to be a lot higher today. I don't think there'll be an advantage, really. I think it's just going to come down to who chooses the right game plan better, who makes the better shots, because it's not going to be like, oh, man, the left got it or the right have it this week.
100%. 100%. I would say, one, yeah, you can hit the like button. It's free. You can hit that share button. Tune in. Hold on a second. We have special guest Chris Barnes.
Oh,
whoa! Whoa.
Okay.
Joining us from the actual set. I guess right behind the set. You got any? Oh wow! Literally from the set. You got any action or insight behind you going on that you want to let us in on?
Well, I mean, the couple of short things is like Kevin just mentioned. There's 2-2, and nothing will get right-handers together like having a couple of left-handers on the show. And so Simo and Bill will break them down to the right. That's what happened yesterday too. That TV pair, ironically, was as good as I've probably seen the TV pair in this arena, maybe ever. We bowled on a lot of easy patterns. The pair, it's not an easy pair. The right lane especially is kind of crown down lane. It's hard for either side to get it up the hill. It's always been tight to the right down lane on the right side, but the lefties are saying the same thing now. So I'm guessing probably the character panel, the targeting arrow panel is a little crowned. And that's basically what you saw. The lefties didn't have any problem hitting the pocket on the right lane, but they couldn't throw a strike.
No, not once. It was like that last year too with the World Series.
We both bowled on it. And it was like,
since they put in this new panels, it's a way cleaner surface than it used to be. It's even way cleaner than the main bay, which is different than before. It used to be way earlier than the main bay.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's going to be whoever can figure out the right lane. I think Justin Knowles has the best look. Those based off yesterday, and they just had practice, and so not throwing urethane, he can get it up the hill in that right lane and get it to go through him. He got 2 messenger, crumbled the bucket, whatever. He knocked out the 7 twice, and it turned a close game into basically a blowout.
Right.
Yeah, I have a question on that. Do you think that we have a question here from Joe Klein? Is Gary at a huge disadvantage switching to the arena? All the others have already kind of experienced that end at Thunderbolt. I think no, because of just the knowledge from the ball reps, and he got to sit and watch yesterday. And on top of that, he also was kind of the lone lefty to never throw urethane. He never really gave it a shot, even on the other side of the building, which is where I think it would come in a little confusion. But do you think yesterday that Graham throwing the purple hammer that first game helped Knowles' look even more?
Yeah, gave him a little more. I mean, they all tried to peel it off the left gutter in practice. Yeah. They did a pretty good job of throwing a lot of really dull balls. I don't know that Graham helped carry much, because lots of times when you throw, especially that older purple, it really hooks. I mean, he was playing the same spot everyone else is, which means he was carrying it down lane to a lane that was already tight. I think Stubler caught the worst end of it because his rev rate isn't as high as Graham's or Justin's.
Yeah.
And Justin threw one shot. I thought he was going to have a trouble, and then he got comfortable and just he could get it up the hill after that. Joe,
100%.
I think the TV pair is always different, and so I don't think that's the disadvantage. The disadvantage is that he's been trying to be super, super low key and kind of on house money and the whole thing about sneaking through in the qualifying and then bowling favorites. And that's a great approach up until it doesn't work. And today,
up until you're the one seat on TV.
Today, you can do that. I think you can even fool yourself in the main bay when you're bowling for the top seed when there's 25 people behind you. Because everybody was down on the other end watching Knowles and the local guys.
Right.
You can't fool today. Even the Players Championship TV shows when no crowd was there, it was different. And now today you have all the lights, you have all the electricity in the building, you have tons of. You're either going to have two Hall of Famers, one of two you're going to bowl, or you're going to bowl with the guy that has the most crowd behind him. And the underdog thing, I think, suits him.
Yeah.
But that whole, hey, I'm going to be really low key, I'm just going to bowl like it's free. It's a great approach.
Yeah.
I don't think it's realistic when you're bowling for a major title.
Yeah, you got to have a killer instinct. You got to go get it.
And I talked with Kevin a little bit about it, where we talked. He's already came out and said, and he went on the USBC interview. I watched it a little bit. It's a great interview, but they were talking about how he, even win or lose, he's not quitting his job and coming out on tours. So
right.
I think that part also helps him. Like, this isn't a, hey, if I win, I'm going to be a pro bowler, and if I lose, I'm not.
Yeah. He's already said he's got his shift tomorrow morning at 4:30. That's working at the power plant. They just signed an agreement. They were going to go on strike, and now he's like, they think they got it worked out yesterday, so he's got a job still Monday. They're not going on strike.
And a minimum $50,000 paycheck coming to him from this weekend.
Right.
That might help a little bit too. I saw him and a couple of his buddies. His buddy and one of his best friend and his wife actually flew out and came, and Michael Martell stuck around. So he's got a good little crowd around him.
Yeah, he's got a support group that's good. His family's here.
Yeah.
And he's got a great approach. He's like, I'm guaranteed 50, which some people have it wired. Hey, I got 100. I'm losing 50
if I lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually looking at it the right way, and he's got two swings at it. But I think he's got a really tall order. I think it's going to the second game almost no matter what.
Yeah, I would assume that first game is practice.
You're either going to catch one of the two Hall of Famers, you're going to catch the guy who I think has the best look, which is Justin, and he is feeling it. He's already got a Detroit Masters and a State Masters in this arena. He's going for the trifecta here.
That's so funny.
We lost him. By the way, let's put him on solo mode.
Look at that happy face.
He's pumped. We're gonna possibly remove Chris from this one. But we got some good info, some good insight. We appreciate Chris for sticking around and popping in with us, giving us some insight on kind of who he thinks has, the best look, the best idea of what's going on. I do like his insight on the fact that he thinks both the righties are going to work together. That was kind of interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, you've got two super veterans, and guys that have won 20 plus times together, 30 plus times. So they're going to make the pair exactly how they want them. Simon knows how to manipulate a pair to be able to play whatever he wants on the part lane. Like, they're smart. And it's, breaking down a pair is a pretty simple concept. It really is. Like, it's not that hard. So when you get two guys that are like, hey, we know that 9-10 look good. Let's break down this part of the lane to be in this part of the lane. So I think it'll be easy for those guys. I do agree with Chris that it will be a tall task just because I like what he said about he's got to go get it. And I do agree with that. There is the kind of downplay it just to have fun, and it kind of keeps the nerves away. but also there's a point where you gotta be like, it's time to go win a major title. Like you gotta want it. Not saying he doesn't want it, but I do agree with what he's saying on that statement there, where I like that. You can't downplay it too much because if you catch any one of those three in the finals, those guys are gonna be ready. Like those guys are gonna be ready to bowl.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Zach Gilbert punching in a good question here. Was the pattern designed to take urethane out of play? I don't think so. A bunch of the lefties actually cracked at the last squad throwing urethane. So I don't think that the play was to take it. And they got one of the smartest lane men behind him that the USBC hires for most of the events nowadays, which would be, oh my God. Who is it? The same guy that does the US Open every year.
Nick Hoagland?
Nick Hoagland. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to say Mark Henninger, but that's not right. That's my buddy.
USBC has always done a good job, or Nick Hoagland's always done a good job about keeping patterns fairly fair. And the urethane balls haven't really been in play the last couple years, especially like last 2 years at the Masters. The urethane balls were not necessary. It's not that they weren't in play. But this year you could throw them. Everyone got there their own way, really. So
there was a bunch of styles, it was a bunch of styles, a bunch of different hands, left hand, two hand,
bunch of
right-handed, one-handed, guys that have a lot of tilt, guys that have no tilt, all over the place, kind of everybody, like you said, different styles, different ways to get there. Everybody just made it on their own.
That's what you want in bowling. I mean, at the end of the day, you don't want it to have to be like, if you do this is the only way you can make a cut or make a show. So it worked out well.
Agreed. The bass player, do you think Simon's going to do something completely unexpected and play a different part of the lane than everyone else like he's done in the past? This is a great question because
perfect. We talk about this often with Simo. This is always like the first thing we bring up with Simo is Simo's the best guy on the telecast every time, or with EJ. It's like, okay, it's Simo or EJ. Which one's it going to be this week? And Simo could probably have 6-7 more wins if he didn't try playing up 2 when everyone else is playing 20. And like he does that sometimes because he has so many tricks in the bag where it's funny, Chris came on. Chris Barnes used to have that issue too. He could do everything on the lane from anywhere.
And sometimes he would always get tricked into the wrong thing.
He would try playing the gutter when everyone else is playing 15. It's like, just beat them at 15. So I love that question because Simo is known to do that at times. I don't think he does it as much as he used to. Now it's like, okay, Bill O'Neill.
Better than them.
I'm Bill striking from 17. I can
play 19.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I hope for Simo's case, he keeps the game simple. If someone's striking from a certain part of the lane, Bill, or if a certain part of the lane looks good, just play it. Don't try to out-trick the pattern and do something crazy. But also the devil's advocate to that, sometimes that's why he gets to where he's at, because he does something pretty wild on the lanes and no one can mimic it, and then he just runs away with it. But it's more qualifying than it is usually on TV. Like on TV, when he tries to go for the out off the wall lane play, it doesn't work on TV. Like it's pretty straightforward on TV, but I don't think he'll do that. I think he'll keep it simple. Also, this pattern doesn't allow you to do too much on the lanes. Like they're pretty tight. It's only him and Bill, so they're not going to break down a lot. So it's not like he can move into 25. He's going to be throwing it pretty hard up around 10, 11, 12 is what my guess would be. So I think he just needs to keep the game simple as much as he can do on the lane.
So we got about 30-ish minutes left to showtime, 35-ish minutes left today. We have a ton of, by the way, it's the bass player, not the bass player. Figured it out. He punched in the chat and told us that we were.
Oh, I think we do that every time. Because he's
always in the chat. Yeah, he's always in the chat. I love the white mama jersey in the background. We do what we can. Anyone attending All-Star Weekend, Brian Ducey, we can't tell you if we are or are not because we don't know the results yet. However, we know the one-handers versus two-handers. We didn't bowl well enough the front half of the year to get into the top 5 two-handed bowlers. However, plenty of year left. We got 2 huge tournaments left. And the Masters final in 35 minutes. With the left being so easy this week, could you two just not carry? It wasn't that easy.
It was not.
There was in the top. If you look at the actual top, because people always talk about that and stuff. If we look at the actual qualifying standings, In the
Mills is like
top
the 14
in the
seed.
top 13, yeah, it goes Gene Perez was up there at 4th, Eric Jones at 6th, Russo at 9th, Stubler at 13th. These guys are averaging 210. They're
Yeah.
not averaging 230 and lapping the field.
Yeah, nothing
So
was
there were plenty of lefties up there in the 2 teens, but it was for example, Graham Fa, who qualified 16th, went -20, +80, +160. Justin Knowles went +5, +100, +100. So it's not like they had it for all 3 blocks and they could crush it the whole tournament. Matt Russo, +160, -30, +120. So it's not like they just like clean swept Bold Amazing the whole way through. Gene Perez, +30, +190, +90. So they popped off for a block and then averaged 210 the other blocks.
When scores are this low, it gives lefties a better chance because sometimes if it gets to a score fest and we can't quite keep up. So when scores are lower like this, every type of style can grind and get there because you don't need 230, you need 210. So yeah, I want to say the left was easy. The left could play just as well as the right.
First off, this isn't a Shamrock Shake. This is a matcha. Oh, guess who we got him back, by the way.
We'll see.
We will see how long we have him back for.
Yeah, this is on a phone, so maybe I have a chance. Yeah, maybe.
So you've been watching them practice a little bit. Were they practicing? Was anybody throwing urethane?
No, nobody in this group is throwing urethane. Simo actually might have thrown just a touch from 12. Yeah, I think trying to drag it down just a little bit, but he's really straight inside the rangefinder. Between the two, actually, but and around 11-12 at the arrows, trying to create some hold. So they've only done the practice. So right now, I think that was a little strategy. Bill was at 7-8 with dough ball, and the two. Gary was probably the furthest in of the 3, and that might be the one concern. Is that I'm not sure he was making the lanes easier for himself. I think he was trying to get lined up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I bet Gary was probably just strictly trying to line up, knowing he's gonna see it last, and he has the chance to see it twice. So it's not like he needs to make them super easy. Justin's probably gonna make the lanes easy or hard himself, and maybe. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Gary throw some chalk outside during the official practice, knowing that he's not going to see it for another 2-3 games. He's not going to see it for another 2 games, and he's not going to be the only lefty on the pair.
He said he wanted to play like 12, 13, 14, so he's going to have to, I think. I mean, Justin will help spot. But, I mean, if I was him, and his reps should help him, you're going to use some surface out there because that's where Justin's playing.
Yeah.
And make Justin move in a little bit more. Not that doesn't play to Justin's favor, but at the same time, you got to make sure he's got a look.
100%. 100%. What kind of balls were going down the lanes? I know Frank Bouchard said troublemaker solid for Haynes. He did throw that a lot this week, but what are some of the other guys throwing?
I know Knowles threw an XL last night.
Yeah, I saw that. I assume same game plan.
There. I don't see him getting off of that as well as good as it looked. And I didn't see much else. Bill's still at the same. He's got the attack, like he's got an archetype. He's got
GB5,
and I think Mesmerize. I think are kind of his 3. Simo's been throwing some of that Cosmos, which is a pretty stable. That's the one he likes to shim up 12, 13.
Yeah, with surface or no?
The surface is broke. It's not shiny, but it's not super dull. He's letting the lane shine up. Simo doesn't throw a ton of polish. He'd rather be a little firmer and be nice to it at the bottom than have to make it hook.
It's funny to hear that from a 2-hander.
Yeah, I mean, really, he struggled when the weight holes went away the first time. It took him a little while to adjust because he's, the more oil we've been bowling on down lane is actually turns out that might be the one small gap he has, is that it's harder for him to get the ball to pick up down lane. In that puddle, he'd rather see him hook a little bit. And that's where he separates from the other 2-handers is he pushes it down lane really well and keep it in front of him better with rotation, which is really hard to do when your rev rate's 500.
Yeah, the bass player said, Chris, could you explain what you mean by shim?
Shim, just hold. he's trying to drag some of that oil down with the urethane just left of where he wants to play. And so that, maybe he can get it to the tracer, obviously would be the ideal, and then get it up 11, 12 down lane and then get it to sit there.
We talking a little bit on kind of the strategy. The pace of last night's matches were high for some. What do we think that, because we got Mark Lebo here saying this tourney is always grueling, making spares and staying clean will be a huge factor. What are your thoughts? So that's kind of a scoring pace type question today. What do you think it's going to be? High, low, somewhere in the middle?
Well, I mean, they made him as easy as I've ever seen him, and the high game was still 217 with the game to go.
Yeah, and even that Knowles game where he popped off for a big game, it wasn't exactly every shot was going flush.
No, I mean, he did have 290 going in the 10th, but really, he probably should have had 2 710s in there, which puts him at, in the 240s, and then he split in the 10th, which would have made it 210.
Yeah.
Much different game. And so it's easy to kind of get
different game.
The kickbacks on this side. It's, this is the original National Bowling League stadium. And the original lanes are actually sitting below this surface. It's pretty cool down there in the basement. It's wild, but the kickbacks are dead. It's hollow underneath. It just knocking the corner pins out hard, even for these guys with as much power as they have.
What's the strategy to knocking them out?
Go flush.
Throw it good.
I've never tried that before.
Yeah, I know. It seems like a foreign concept in this day and age, but and even then we had guys that, like Bailey, threw a fantastic shot.
Oh,
I thought his second one in the 10th was better than the first one, and the fact that rung tag was, I don't want to get off track of what today's is, but he's been one of my kind of crossing buddies this year, and watching him from week 1 to right now, even like you see the improvement week to week to week.
He's somebody a confidence thing for sure. Like more shots look like he knows that they're going to be good.
He puts a lot more shots online, and his speed control is way better than it was at the beginning of the year. If you told me at the beginning of the year they're going to be hard, I'm like, well, Bailey's going to struggle this week.
Yeah.
He just, that's not who I thought he was, and that may be just a misdiagnosis. But he, and that being said, he still got 2 for maybe the first time ever on TV.
And spared it.
That was the first 2 spared ever.
I'm probably pretty sure it's both, at least on TV. So,
it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. Handled all the adversity fantastic, and made 2 of the best shots you're going to see in that situation. Bill's a lot like Gary in that he is
house money.
He is on house money. He was supposed to get beat twice yesterday. He made enough mistakes to get beat both times.
Oh my God, the 10 pin. We got a question here about that 10 pin. There was a little bit of a situation in the arena yesterday. Did you hear anything about what happened during the show?
What was the situation?
So apparently the announcer came on and said that Bill won the game and advanced.
Yeah, Mike did
and then Bill missed the 10 pin.
Job of that, but Bill can do math.
Bill knew.
He knew he had to make the spare. He was going through his whole pre-shot routine. He's doing something a little different with his push away, and it's been pretty good. But the 10-pin 1 was in the swing a little early, just slightly. He got a little firmer with it, and I'm really breaking it down here. But under all the adrenaline, he missed it just a touch, and then he got it in early on the swing again on the spare. I think that a spare shot for a guy who was 40 for 40 or whatever he was all week. That was not close.
No.
He said he hasn't missed a 10-pin in a month.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a super straight arm swing, and he's got great footwork. He's not a guy who does miss a lot of spares ever. And it's just pure pressure is what that is. And I said on the telecast that it's not 60 feet away. It's like 75 or 80 feet away right there.
Yeah, 100%.
And he just, he shut his shoulder down once, then he forced it to the right. It just wasn't his finest moments. And for him to get to survive that and then get to come back today, that makes him scary, that's for sure.
Here's the thing. We've seen this before. When guys have some breaks, it just feels like the stars are aligning. And it's like, okay, I got enough lucky breaks or whatever. Now let me dial in and bowl well. And it just kind of all falls into place. We've seen this so many times.
The crazy thing is, I think it's actually like it's the perfect scenario for all three of these guys. Justin got some breaks. Justin got some breaks in his match last night to make it not close, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Snapped the 7, rolled like a 3-7.
Crumbled the bucket, basically.
Yeah, like crumbled a bucket and struck to make it not close. You got Gary Haynes, who bowled Simo at probably Simo's worst match.
He said it was.
Simo missed 3 single pins in that match, which Simo has been one of the best two-handed spare shooters on tour the last decade.
2 of them were late enough it didn't matter, but they made a big deal. But he didn't hit the pocket. He was struggling to hit the pocket on that pair. And then you
also have Bill O'Neill, who got the, oh my God, I missed the 10 pin. Graham strikes out in every single 10th. Went Brooklyn. Yeah. It feels like Graham strikes out in every single 10th frame, and then he goes up and he just throws a good shot and again doesn't strike.
Yeah, I mean, Bill's got Bill and Gary were both kind of on borrowed time. Gary got in, he left a split, had a breakdown, had to sit around for 20 minutes.
Thought he might not even make the cut.
Comes back, makes the spare finally, after 20 minutes, gets 2 shots, finishes the other game all on the other lane, which ironically wasn't his good lane. And then
he made a ball change.
He strikes out on that left lane 20 minutes after everybody's done. End up making the cut by count.
Did you watch the interview? He said he made a ball change because he was just amped up and knew he was going to throw it hard, so he just threw a ball that he knew was going to hook.
Well, he also got 2 practice shots because they sat for so long. I think they were almost 30 minutes by the time it's done. So he got 2 shots, and he got it on the lane that he was going to bowl on. Now he had to have 5 guys, so it was league bowling, not exactly a bonus situation. It is the right call in Game 5. You shouldn't have to go down and bowl on a fresh pair to finish off your game. That's not
2 frames with 2 frames to go.
2 frames to go. So I believe it's the right call before anybody jumps in about that. But sometimes fate just aligns. And fate has aligned for him to get to this point anyway. Yeah. Is this going to be another D-Ron thing? I thought D-Ron getting the bowl with Dombrowski was a big break for him instead of Simo or Belmo or the like you said, the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like it was an even match. And for D-Ron, I think that was helpful. I don't know for Gary, it might be better for him to bowl in the stars, and he just feels like he's not supposed to win anyway.
Yeah, if I win, good for me. If I don't, I'm bowling against Simo. He should beat me.
Right. Or you bowl Knowles and you go, well, this guy doesn't have a title either. This is, I have a chance. He's also left-handed, and he's
probably just as nervous as me.
Right. Except Knowles doesn't look nervous. He's, for a quiet guy, he's got a lot of confidence.
I'll be curious to see if that changes when it comes down to. I mean, with him being in the first match, I don't think it will. But when it comes down to it, I mean, I think we've all had that. Okay, you bowl a couple games, and now this one's for the title. This one's not. This one isn't the first match.
I think it doesn't pop in until the second match, though. If it does that, and I've done the same thing. I bowled really good and then got to the final match, and it does. It runs through your mind. Your mind gets distracted by all the outside things. Hey, this is for the title now. It shouldn't
100%.
matter, but it does. And so Gary's whole approach too about, hey, I'm just going to stay really calm, really cool. I'm just going to be smooth and just kind of whatever. And I mean, it's really cool until you see the trophy sitting over there on the right, and there's a shot clock and a big scoreboard, and
you got one game.
250 people sitting in here, and there's just an electricity and a buzz, and it's just not there. Even though it's a super important match to be the top seed, it's still not the same.
Agreed. So getting into these matches, we got Bill versus Justin. I think this is going to be the hardest game for Justin if he has one, just because the transition won't have helped him as much yet. Mm-hmm. I just put the poll up on YouTube, so if you guys are over there, please feel free to vote. Let us know what you guys think. But what are your guys' thoughts on the first match? What's the score is going to be? If we're looking on Bet Rivers, the plus minus is 445, so it's the same as yesterday.
Feels so.
And they have Justin Knowles as the underdog.
I mean, 445 is high for starters. I mean, I don't think they're going to get there, especially not having as much transition. And I think you're right where I think Graham helped him a little bit yesterday because Graham was like, I'm throwing the purple eye. I just have to win one game. I don't have to run the ladder, so I don't care about my future ball motion. And I think he created some shim for Justin. I think scores going to be lower for Justin. And I don't think Bill's going to do what he did yesterday and have a couple errant shots. I think Bill's going to come in with the new mindset, be locked in. I don't think he's going to give him those opportunities. So I think it's going to be a hard match for Justin personally.
Yeah, I think the scores are lowest for Bill on the fresh as well. I think he likes it better when he gets to 17, 18. That's where he got most of his pins. This side, those panels are newer. It's way cleaner through the front. And so he can't start as far left. I don't know he's going to get as much help from Simo as he did from Dom, who also piled on with a dull ball out to the right.
Yeah.
I think 440. I mean, they're giving Justin a lot of credit. I do think Justin has it more from the jump than the right does necessarily, or basically any of the other three. I think he has the best look from shot one, but 445 is going to mean Justin shoots a big game, I think.
Yeah.
I think otherwise, like the other matches, 215 is probably going to be a pretty good score, even if they hit the pocket all the time, just because Gary's so tough here.
Yeah, especially on that right lane with Knowles. I think the right lane on the lefties you've seen. I told Gary yesterday when we were chatting with him on the set, I said, hey, if you get an opportunity, which you will, to choose lane, I'll let you know whatever lane looks better. Every single lefty last year when there were 12 of them on the World Series TV shows or 15 on the World Series TV shows, every single one of them chose to finish on the left lane. The right lane seemed pretty allergic to getting the 7 out, and you saw it with Graham yesterday. But yeah, I mean, like Mark Lebo says here, 230 gets it done. Craig Vise asking if the title match could be under 400. I think there's a chance.
There is a chance.
Oh yeah,
especially if it does be two newcomers, two first titleists having an opportunity at it. I mean, there's gonna be some nerves.
I mean, we've all seen first shows, and that can be 230 and it can be 150 so fast you can blink. And this pair's already hard to knock them over on, and it could.
The pattern's hard.
Messy today. So
yeah.
I mean, they're getting ready to get started. We'll know a little bit more, but if Gary starts left in practice again, any score is possible.
Yeah,
and it could get real hard for him to knock him over because he's got the lowest rev rate of the bunch.
Agreed. Yeah, on our poll on YouTube, Bill O'Neill was selected as champion over Knowles, even though we all said Knowles.
I think it's Bill. I'm going Bill.
You think it's Bill?
I think it's Bill because I think he's going to come in and he's going to be very dialed. I think Justin Knowles forces those like hype moments a little bit too much. He has the home crowd. And like you can kind of tell he's always waiting for the little monologues and like the no. I think he forces that too much, and I think it's just going to be even worse today. I just think it's going to be Bill is the expert,
So
that's all.
First two shots have gone down in practice. Simo with a hyperdrive from 7, and Gary Haynes with the blue and white ball with surface from 6.
Oh,
okay.
They're both on the plan. And Simo's second shot was a plastic ball from 15.
I feel like this pattern is pretty straightforward. Like you got to play around 10, 11. Like that's just what it is.
Yeah. So we got. I mean, according to the fans, I would agree. I think Bill. I'm going to agree with Kevin. I think Bill just bowls like Belmo came on and said to us yesterday. I think Bill just executes a better game. And if Justin Knowles misses or sees something he doesn't like those first couple shots, I think he will have a harder time coming out of it than Bill would. So I think those first couple shots are super important, and I think whoever wins the first 3 frames wins the game.
Yeah, I've been friends with Bill a long time. That's who I want to win, but I think Justin's winning that game.
All right, so we got 2 Bill, 1 Justin, and we, the lefties picked Bill and the righty picked Justin. All right, here we go. But the fans,
everybody thinks the other side's easier.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they know. The fans picked Bill, so we put another one up, Simo or Justin. And again, it that is a sick view. And it is another question we got earlier. Do you think Simo throws a backup ball?
No.
No chance.
I don't think he'll throw a backup ball. Do you think he does it at all during practice to mess with them a little bit, or no?
No, I don't think so. I think he needs all of it. I mean, he only gets 8 minutes. I think he needs all he can get
Needs as much help as he can.
to stretch it. Simo loves it when he can play that little shim at 12, and I think if he thinks he has the right reaction, I think he thinks he can just beat everybody.
Well,
So,
I would too if I was him.
They're not easy enough on the left. Like, he's all right. His rev rate's really not that high, and he doesn't have enough rotation to really hook it on the left. That's only a thing he can do when they're really smoking over there, or really, really hard. In either case, he's dialed in. He's bowled a bunch of games this week. He's got a lot to prove to himself. It's not been an ugly, it's been an ugly year. I don't think he's looking for gimmicks. I think
He's looking to win.
I think he finally feels like he's got the best version of himself so far this year, and I think he's looking to prove it.
100%. We have I'm sorry. There was this crazy story in the comments a little while back. I mean, it was a while back at the beginning of the show. This guy says that Gary Haynes pulled him out of a burning car.
That's wild.
I need to know if that's true. That's wild if it is.
Or it's just a friend like hyping him up.
No, I think I hope that's real. That'd be sick. So the next match we have would be Justin Knowles versus Simo. What do you think happens in match number 2? If Knowles, like you said, I mean, like Barnes said, pick Knowles. If it's going to be Knowles, how does that transfer going through into match number 2? Does he see some transition?
He has some transition. I think Simo will have a chance, but he might have to shoot 230 to beat him.
Okay, so you think match number 2 is actually going to be a much higher scoring match than match number 1?
I just think that's going to be the game that he has to get through, and yeah, Simon's going to come out ready.
Do you think the winner of game 2 wins the tournament?
Even as hard as it is to beat anybody twice, yes, I do.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm always on the
It's really hard to do.
Twice.
Super hard to do.
A first time on TV is always tough, but winning twice?
And like we talked about a little bit, it could be a little bit of the D-Ron thing where like they're just hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to throw 12 perfect shots because it's not going to be a 250 game.
No, it could be like the Rasmus thing where if you can just get away with your bad ones.
Same with Darren Ong, same situation.
Yeah,
like
just not
bowled
split.
A good enough game,
didn't
split, made all the spares, and kind of just called it a day and ended up winning. Where that's kind of where EJ was on the other end of it, like threw a lot of good shots, but the couple bad ones always split.
Agreed.
So
I'm gonna have to run here pretty quick, guys.
You get to it. Tell us your winner of the day. Who do you think's winning?
I think Knowles is running the ladder today.
Ooh,
okay.
That's a bold one.
Right.
One for the lefties.
One for the lefties. And then the prize fund will be even through the year with the first and second place finish at a major.
Yeah. Yep. Sure will.
The Masters is back to itself again this year. So
lefty as they should, lefty on top. I agree. All right. Well, we appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for joining us. If you guys want Fox in 10 minutes, Chris will be joining for match number 2 and 3 on the actual Fox set. So 10 minutes, join us on
and
Fox.
4.
Ooh. Okay. All right, Chris,
all right, guys.
We'll see you in a little. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Okay.
That's a bold prediction.
The fans picked Simo for match number 2, which gives us a Simo versus Gary Haynes.
Look, dude,
will Simo beat Gary Haynes twice?
Here's the thing. This is a weird scenario because I always talk about experience is going to beat the less experienced on TV. We see it 92% of the time. A first timer on TV does not show up and handle the situation.
But he's got 2 games.
That's why the scenario is weird because you can pretty much trash the first game if you want to. You could bowl 112 and get all the nerves out and be like, okay, well, am I still nervous? I got a whole other game to bowl. So having the 2 games helps tremendously.
Oh,
I just think if Simo doesn't get in his own way, he's going to do the Simo thing, especially if he gets to that title match. Simo's going to be just like ready to eat. He's just going to be ready to eat. And I just like, but it's hard to say that though. I can't fully say that because I think even though it's Gary's first time on TV or whatever, he's a 1 seed for a reason. And beating anyone 2 games in a row on the same pair is so hard to do. He's a good enough bowler that even if the first game goes miserable, he will
I'll
lock
say
it.
it's actually almost more helpful if the first game goes miserable, because then he'll be down by enough. He can start throwing some different bowling balls.
Yeah.
I think worst case scenario, it's a 180 to 170 game, and neither of them have a chance to try anything.
Yeah,
you can't try anything.
but
Or maybe, but to be fair, if it's 170 to 180, if I'm shooting the 170 or 180, I'm more willing to take a risk to find 220 ball reaction, knowing that I have 2 games to do it.
Agreed. And we did see in like Gary's matches, he was not afraid to ball change. Like against you, against Graham,
He ball changed late.
He ball changed on a not just 1 miss. He would just ball change. But if you're bowling against Anthony Simonson, that is the most fearless bowler to ever bowl on tour. If it shoots 180, he'll ball change in a fill ball if he needs a strike to win by 1. Like so that would not play in Gary's hand very well if it's a close, low scoring match to where he's a little timid to try something new, because Simo will just try something. Now it might not work, but he's not afraid to try it. So there's so many scenarios of how this title match can go, in my opinion, just because there's the 2 games. If it was 1 game, as good as he's bowled, as much as I would love to see the underdog win, it's so hard to pick a Gary Haynes over like a Simo, a Bill, or even a Knowles.
Okay. But now that we're down and dirty into it, you're picking Gary or Simo?
Something tells me in my heart Gary's gonna get it done, because it's so hard to beat someone twice. But there's that part of me that's like, it's Anthony Simonson. He's got the tricks if they get funky. He's going up against a guy who he knows is going to be nervous. It's his first time. I
also like that he was nervous yesterday.
Gets it out of him a little bit.
Like, I like that he was nervous yesterday. He'll still be nervous today, but at least he's already set the bar of like, this is how I'm feeling. I am nervous. I will be nervous when I get out there. He's not like, oh, like this is a blast, blah, 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 blah. And then he steps up onto the TV set and he's like, whoop. Yeah. Oh my God, here it is.
Please.
Wave of energy, wave of nerves. I think because he's already feeling that. Dude, the poll is close on YouTube. It's 57 Simo, 43 Gary Haynes.
Games. The beating of 2 games is just
so if we're looking, we've seen in the past this year, the guys haven't been favored super heavy. If you're looking to bet, which we can't, but we do talk about the numbers a little bit, Justin Knowles to win plus 800, Bill O'Neill plus 650, Simo plus 170, Gary Haynes, your favorite at minus 125. And that is because he has 2 games to work with.
Gotta lose twice.
Do we have a ton of Long Island fans in the
chat? I love it. Yeah. I saw someone that I don't know, but I guess I'm friends with him on Facebook. Wow, that's hilarious. I saw that someone made a post that he said he blocked Gary and Simo, and they said they were hosting a big watch party. I would imagine the East Coast is going to turn up wherever they are.
Those guys already know. Like, Gary knows that Babylon, New York is going to be popping tonight with people watching the Masters TV show.
For sure. It's such a sick story. And my heart's telling me we're going to see another typical Masters, like, oh, this guy won. This is awesome.
Dude, it's March Madness.
We
gotta see the Cinderella through.
Literally,
right?
It's March Madness. It's crazy. I think I'm gonna pick Gary.
Huge watch party at Babylon Bowl today, as there should be. 5 minutes, the TV show starts.
Who you got? Simo?
So if you're looking for bowling odds, first off, it'll be on Bet Rivers. It's an online thing. We're not sponsored. The PBA is not sponsored, but if you do want to bet on it, it's on betrivers.com. So if I'm betting Simo, if I'm not betting Simo, Gary, if I'm picking Simo versus Gary, I'm picking Gary. And I think he wins. I think he wins the first game.
Oh my goodness.
I think he wins the first game. I do think it'll be harder for him to win on the second game than the first. Just because it might hit like, okay, I had a game. This is my only chance now. I'm probably never going to get another chance to win the Masters. Maybe he will. He's been in the round of 16 before, so it's not like he is. He's
obviously
new to
a
the
good
scene.
bowler,
yeah.
But it just hits different. He's bowling in a title match live on Fox. It's just different. You can't. I think he's gonna do it because he has the 2 games. I don't think he's gonna win in the first game. I just don't see. I just don't see a world where that happens because scores are so low. Even if they're a grind, if a Simo is in the title match, he's gonna keep it close because Simo's not gonna just like implode, you know.
Craig
So,
By said Simo 197 to 193. I would not disagree. The YouTube poll has told us 60% Simo winning. I'm picking Gary Haynes, and it's all about what's in here.
I agree.
I just want him to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
But
guys,
Bill's gonna run it. You know, I take it back. Bill's running.
yeah. Now that we haven't picked Bill at all, I mean, sure.
I picked Bill to win the first match. I think the thing I said earlier about stars kind of aligning, he got a couple breaks. He probably won 2 games he felt he might not have won, whatever. However you want to look at it. That guy's too good. He's not going to do 2 days in a row of luck boxing it up. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a fun show. I do think it's going to be a fun show. They're hard. You got some personalities. You got some vets. You got some young guys. You got some stories. It is literally March Madness, baby.
Yeah, and we got the show, the Masters TV show, the final on Fox in 3 minutes. Go head over there. In 3 minutes, tune in to Fox, not Fox Sports 1, but the big Fox for the Masters final telecast. The underdog up top as the #1 overall seed. And this time he's got to lose twice. So head over to Fox right now. Kev, you got any final words?
Just appreciate all the support, guys. We love doing the pre-show, so thank you for tuning in. Monday, the PBA is going to announce the All-Star Weekend Strike Derby winners. Other than that, go tune into bowling. Appreciate our guys' support. Go buy some house merch. We'll see you never. Or next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week at the Players, maybe at All-Star Weekend. We'll let you know as everything gets announced. We'll catch you on the next one. Until then, thanks for all the support, everybody. Peace.